Greetings, peeps of the interwebs. Jake here, and I hope you all had a fantastic New Year's. It is now 2017. Thank God, because 2016 was kind of a crap fest. Overall, it was kind of hit or miss, but a lot of shittiness. But I won't go into that because this video is about the recent news that the solo Batman movie may not happen. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I did a video that you all may or may not be aware of, where I was kind of speculating and just kind of putting the idea out there that Warner Brothers don't seem to have a plan at all for like their DC cinematic universe. And it seems like anytime some kind of like little news thing comes out, it's further making that statement true. Or I guess speculation, because again, this is all speculative. Take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like the grain of salt is now becoming like a pile of salt, and it's very unnerving for me as a fan of DC Comics and the DC characters. And again, what seems like a complete lack of plan for this whole cinematic universe. Because basically, I mean, again, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically with the quote, Ben Affleck was promoting his new movie, Live by Night, and, in an interview, of course, a lot of questions about the solo Batman movie, because that's kind of the big, hyped up project he's been working on. And they asked him, kind of, I guess, the progress, and he was just kind of like, there's not really a script, I don't really know, what's going on, I don't know if we're still going to do it. Which, this is really worrying me, because only, like, 2 months ago, Ben Affleck was just going on about how, they got a script going, him and Jeff Johns are working on it, and, Warner Brothers were saying that this movie's probably going to be starting production sometime in the fall, and probably going to get, like, a 2018 release, and it just seems like they keep flip-flopping, because, again, their interviews where Ben Affleck was kind of like, yeah, Batman movie's definitely happening, and then Warner Bros. Execs were kind of like, well, we don't know, and then, like, a week later, Warner Bros. Execs were like, definitely happening, and now it's like, Ben Affleck's not sure what's going on. This is frustrating the hell out of me, because again, I'm a fan of these characters and the comics, and I want these movies to be as good as what they should be, but holy shit, Warner Brothers cannot seem to do anything cohesive right now. Say what you want about, like, the current DC movies. I personally really like Man of Steel. That's probably my favorite Superman movie, and I could even argue it's the best Superman movie. Controversial, I know. And say what you want about Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. I didn't really care for Batman v Superman. Suicide Squad, it's fun and entertaining, but still not a very good movie. There are things they did right in both those films, but overall, they weren't that great. Or as great as what they should have been. And I don't want DC and Warner Brothers to just keep rolling out these kind of mediocre movies where, I leave the theater and kind of like, yeah, okay, there's some cool parts, but overall, I just kind of sigh a little bit, because I'm like, yeah, there are cool moments. It's okay. I liked it overall, but man, there's just so much potential there. And now they just keep, like, again, I know, again, grain of salt, speculation, all that stuff. But again, it's not just, I'm kind of hitting the panic button right here. Because, this is not boding well. Even for speculation, this is still, because this stuff just keeps seeping out there into the interwebs and the media that there's conflict going on with, like, Warner Brothers executives and all that stuff, because they're so cautionary and reactionary to what the fans think, which I get that, but, if you had a plan, just stick with that plan, but instead it just seems like they're kind of flying at the seat of their pants. They're kind of like, Harley Quinn, people liked her, make a Harley Quinn movie, Deadshot. We'll maybe make a Deadshot movie. And then someone was like, well, what about Shazam? He's supposed to come out. And they're like, fuck Shazam. No one cares. We're focusing on the characters people actually know and like right now. I've said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Shazam's not happening. That movie has probably been canceled again because they put more effort into this Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, or Gotham City Sirens movie, and even a Justice League Dark movie. They've put more effort into than Shazam or Cyborg. So those movies probably not happening. And what worries me even more is so Justice League comes out this year in November, and you would think that since they're pretty much done, like with all the filming of Justice League, they're kind of just in post production, just touching things up and adding things and all that. You would think that they've had so much confidence in this cinematic universe, and they did a lot of great press for Justice League. They invited a whole bunch of journalists and stuff like that to the set of Justice League to kind of show them around and show that they're trying to fix the problems that a lot of people had with Batman v Superman. So that was really cool, and it kind of showed that Warner Brothers are actually being reactionary in a positive way. They were course correcting, whereas now, which again still, whatever. They're just. I feel like that was more warranted, I guess. Whereas now it just seems like they really just are. It's like they read YouTube comments and one person is like, "No, I don't like the DC movies." And they're like, "Oh shit, that person doesn't like our movies, so we gotta make their movies appeal to that guy." And then they read another comment and that person's like, "I love the DC movies." And they're like, "Well, okay, that person likes our movies, so we're doing okay, right?" And then they just keep reading comments or like tweets. And so then they keep flip-flopping. They're like, "Let's do a Batman movie." And then someone's kind of like, "No, I don't like Ben Affleck." And they're like, "Yeah, no, let's not do that solo Batman movie." Like, what the hell? Seriously, what the actual hell is going on here? This is really turning into, like, another rant, because, again, it's so frustrating. Like, I'm not trying to, like, bash Warner Brothers or DC, because I actually really like Warner Brothers. They're a good studio. But it seems like when it comes to this whole DC cinematic universe, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and that's kind of what's worrying me is, again, like, a couple months ago, Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns were working on the script. It seemed like things were going well. And so now Ben Affleck seems to change his tune. So I guess could mean one of two things, or I guess one of many things, but more than likely one of two things. Either one, him and Jeff Johns were doing really well. They had a solid script. Everything was going well, and then that's when the Warner Brothers executives kind of stepped in and were like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't like this. You should change things." And since Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns are kind of like the top head honchos over at Warner Brothers in terms of their DC cinematic universe, you'd think that, they would know what they're doing. Especially, Ben Affleck. He's a huge Batman fan. And Jeff Johns is, like, the best writer in DC Comics, or has been for a very long time, and is still a pretty solid writer and just creative dude. So you would think they would just kind of like, "Hey, you guys do your thing, we trust you." And that's also kind of why we promoted you all to, like, executive producer and creative consultant Kevin Feige type for Jeff Johns. So, but that still worries me. Because, again, that is kind of part of the problem. Because it seems like they give these directors and writers or producers, whatever, their job to produce, write, direct these movies, and then they interfere and kind of like, "Yeah, I know we hired you to do this, but don't do your job, or do your job, but we're basically going to be holding your hand the whole time and directing you to direct what we want you to direct rather than what you want to direct. Because, you're the director and you're supposed to have a vision of this, but this is our vision that we're kind of putting on you to see our vision." Or two, maybe Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck aren't on the same page. Like, maybe first act of the movie or the first draft of the solo Batman movie was, pretty, they're kind of on the same page, and then as they started to kind of write more, their ideas started to differentiate, which is also not good. Because if that's the case, more than likely what will happen is it'll come down to an ultimatum where basically Warner Brothers will either have to get rid of Ben Affleck or Jeff Johns. They're going to go with Jeff Johns because Ben Affleck is kind of their golden boy. And so Then they'll probably have to bring in another writer, or just Ben Affleck will take care of the entire script and directing and producing, which, he could probably do a fine job, but that's just a whole lot of pressure, and that's just a whole lot of time and effort that one man has to put into one movie. As passionate as he seems to be about the movie, that's just unfair. So either way, with, again, in my opinion, the two most likely scenarios, either way, this is not good. Like, if Warner Brothers had just sat down, because I'll be honest, as much as I love Man of Steel, I don't think that was supposed to jumpstart a DC cinematic universe. I think it was just, they were like, well, hey, we did that Superman movie a few years back, let's just go ahead and build off that. Which is not a terrible idea, but they're doing it in the wrong way, in my humble opinion. Feel free to disagree, that's perfectly fine. But I just feel like if they had collectively, the head honchos and executives and all that stuff just kind of all sat down and were like, okay, so we're all on board of this cinematic universe, correct? Cool. Okay. You're in charge of, like, the film division, and you get the directors, you get the writers and all that stuff, and you do your thing, we'll do other things within our banner of Warner Brothers. The movies, and, they've got, they own several TV channels as well. And just, like, did a plan, like, of, hey, this movie comes first, then this one, and then that one, and that one, and they all kind of interconnect, much like the Marvel system, because that seems to be working. Because, again, that's why Marvel are doing so well right now. Like, and, if you hate the Marvel movies, that's totally fine, but you can't deny they're killing it, both financially and critically. Even they're not so good movies are still decent and have decent ratings, and they definitely make money. There's no denying that. So that's what they need to do. They, like, honestly, as much as I want these movies to happen, like, as soon as possible, especially before the whole comic book fatigue happens, I would much rather Warner Brothers just kind of like, okay, look, guys, I know you want your solo Batman movie, you want your Aquaman and Justice League 2 and all that stuff, but we're gonna kind of go on hiatus to figure our shit out, instead of just kind of greenlighting movies on the fly and then completely forgetting about the other half of the movies that we said we were gonna do and have made no effort in, like, anything at all. Aside from, like, maybe casting, again, they casted The Rock as Black Adam, and they casted Ray Fisher as Cyborg. That's all the effort they put into those two movies, and that's probably all the effort they will put. So, I really hope I'm not just coming off as, like, a dick right now, just knocking on Warner Brothers and DC. Because I'm not trying to. It's just, again, as a fan, it bugs the hell out of me. This should not be happening. Even without, like, a solid plan, I just feel like since they're a studio that have been around for a very long time, they would figure something out. But clearly there's a whole lot of internal issues going on, and it's just, it's not working for anyone. It's not working for the studio, the producers, because it's just not working for anybody. Not the fans or anyone. If they just, like, put out a bunch of crap, then it doesn't work for anyone, because then their movie flops or underperforms. We fans are disappointed, the studio's disappointed, and then they fire a whole bunch of people because they were trying to do their job, but the studio kept interfering. Now again, studio interference is not always a bad thing, but it's definitely a bad thing right now. Holy shit. Again, like, if I had a panic button, I'd be smacking the hell out of that thing right now, because I've been trying to remain cautiously optimistic about the DC Cinematic Universe, even though it's had a very rough start. And I really, really hope Wonder Woman and Justice League are good. Preferably great, because Warner Brothers need great movies, not just good. They need great, so I hope they're great. But I'm trying to just keep my expectations lowered, so that way, if it's not great or good, I'll leave the theater and be like, meh, it's what I expected. Or They are great, and with my lowered expectations, they're even better because I had such low expectations. But I hate the fact that I have to go in with lowered expectations for these movies. Because again, I like these characters and the stories that they've been in the comics for like 70 years. You'd think that's a good amount of source material to mine for movies or adaptations or whatever. So what the hell's going on, Warner Brothers? Like, someone please clue me in. I really want to know. Because again, I can't stress enough how frustrated I am that nothing seems to be working for Warner Brothers. But I think I've rambled enough and ranted. This is really more of a rant. Sorry. But I think I've ranted enough. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Hopefully you all have endured this. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but hopefully you all have endured. And don't hate me for expressing my opinions. But feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section. Whether you completely disagree and hate my guts, that's totally fine, or whether you agree, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle. Again, feel free to leave your comments. Let's try and be civil about this, people. As adults, and even if you're not an adult, just common courtesy, people. Come on. But before I wrap this up, as I've mentioned in previous videos, we are going to be doing our top 10 movies of 2016 podcast, maybe either later this week or next week. So within the next week or two, that'll be uploaded. So if you all, want to submit your list of top 10 movies, I can do a separate video, just kind of showcasing you all's top 10 list of movies of 2016, and we'll also be doing our top 10 albums of 2016 as well. Again, in the next week or so. So if you want to submit your list of top albums, it doesn't even have to be your top 10. If you've only seen like 7 movies and like you've only listened to 5 albums, just send me your list anyways, and again, I'll showcase them in another video. But as always, you can like us on Facebook at PaceyPo Productions to get news and updates and all things going on with the channel, upcoming projects and all that jazz. You can follow us on Twitter at PaceyPo Pro, same thing, just news, updates, upcoming projects we got going on in the channel. And of course, you can follow me at my own personal Twitter page at IrishmanJake and just, tweet me things. Your thoughts on this whole lack of plan that Warner Brothers, doesn't have, clearly. The cinematic universe, or, just, whatever floats your boat. And again, hopefully you all did have a pleasant New Year's, and let's really hope this year is so much better than 2016. Because, 2016 had some high points, a lot of low points. So, until next time, everyone, though, cheers.